Hello, everyone. Welcome to our MedicareLIVE 2021 cross-selling panel. This will be a great session for anyone who offers Medicare Advantage and Supp to your clients. I'm Denis Tauscheck, Chief Revenue Officer at Integrity Marketing Group, and I'm thrilled to share the knowledge of this panel with you. First, what is cross-selling? Simply put, cross-selling is offering additional products to your clients to better serve their needs and build stronger client relationships. That sounds like the ultimate win-win to me. Today, you'll get to hear from these panelists on their areas of specialization. Jim Sweeney, who's just an expert in cross-selling multiple products. Sean Mike, Final Expense and Mortgage Protection. Mark Williams, Annuities and Wealth Planning. Mike Lynch, Short-Term Care. Everyone here is an expert in the field with insights about cross-selling in the Medicare market. You'll learn everything you need to know from every angle. The why, the what, the when, and the how of cross-selling so you can be on your way to a winning AEP. Are you ready? I sure am. We've got a lot of great topics and questions to cover, so let's dive right in. Our first angle to discuss is why. Why should agents cross-sell additional products? Question 1, how can presenting additional products bring value to your clients?
So selling additional products, cross-selling additional products is valuable to your clients because probably the most important thing is that we talk about insurance all day long, every day. Clients don't like to talk about insurance. And so once we're with a client and we're talking about insurance, it's important to, in my opinion, talk about all the different needs that they've got. And so by not only focusing on the product that we're there to talk to them about originally, but then also cross-selling and talking about additional needs, they're, first of all, they're in the sort of the insurance mind, and they're more, ready or apt to listen to the ideas you might have on other products. The most important thing that we do for our clients is fix their problems, solve their needs, and by asking questions on the front end and finding out what all of their needs are, and then addressing all of those needs. So not only addressing the initial product again, or solution that we went there to problem that we went there to solve, but to solve potentially other problems as well, is the most valuable thing we can do for the client.
So when I got involved in this industry about 12 years ago, I had an individual give me some really good advice. He said, the more products and the more things I can help a client with, the more I'll become a meaningful specific in their lives. And I never really understood that until I started working hard in this business and realizing that the more solutions I could bring to a family, the more problems I could address, the more of a client I would have for life. So for me, the more I could point them in the right direction of additional products, the more I knew I was going to have a better financial and personal relationship with that client, and I'd be able to protect them in many ways for their lifetimes and my lifetime, and I'd have a client for life.
So most of our clients are looking for peace of mind, especially with some of the products that we provide. When you think about what you're providing your customers, generally it's a way to take care of their health in their future, maybe leave a legacy. So by providing more products in your, more arrows in your quiver, more products in your arsenal, you have that much more ability to provide solutions to your clients, which again will make them more endeared to you as their financial professional. So I think the more products you have on your shelf, the actual more value you're bringing to your customer. Think about it like a store. The more clothing that you can provide your customer, the fewer opportunities they have to go somewhere else and find another alternative to you. So I think having more products that you can offer your customers will actually heighten the relationship that you have with your customers.
Okay, well, first of all, when we're all in the Medicare space, the important thing is that you work to build your book of clients as opposed to just constantly selling new policies. And when you do that, you're more focused on getting a new client, getting to know his needs or her needs, and then, maintaining that client over the years with your Medicare product. That's first base. And when you can do that, then you start, they start looking at you as someone they can talk to about other products, and you can bring it up and introduce it. And when you do, then you're really getting into what your client's needs are, and you're really taking care of them. It's all about service and being helpful to your client, and they'll respect you for it over time.
Question 2, How does presenting additional products bring value to you as an agent?
So presenting additional products to a client, let's take, so now outside of I'm protecting them, I got that part of it, and I become a value in their life. But for me as an agent, you work hard when you go out in the field, and it's your time, and it's time away from your family and time away from other things you would be doing, right? You're working. So the more I can put in place for a family, the better I'm going to do financially. But also, the minute I started putting additional products in place for families, my referrals went through the roof. So I would help a family out and meet a couple different needs, and they would find somebody they knew that was looking for one or multiple needs to be filled as well. So it allowed me to have additional leads. It allowed me to do better financially. It allowed me to utilize my time more effectively.
For an agent, it's all about the service you provide. You get your rewards both intrinsically, by servicing you're servicing your clients, but also you're rewarded yourself by maintaining and building your book of clients. So I'll just give you an idea. The typical Medicare agent can, build a book of clients somewhere between 400 and 600 clients. And beyond that, it becomes unwieldy, and you really can't keep in touch with them all the time. And when you keep in touch with them, you can do some other things, like talk about other coverages and see if you can bring them some other coverages that they haven't thought about just by introducing and asking the right questions. For instance, have you looked into your long-term care, or have you thought about your final expenses after your death? Those are leading questions you can ask that that not only build your products with your client base, but also become very lucrative to you as you have more products per client.
So for you as an agent, having more products solidifies that relationship with the client even more. None of us want to share our clients. It's the lifeblood of what we do. And for you, going out and establishing a relationship, building a rapport, and creating a customer, now you want to be able to offer that customer as many opportunities to remain your customer as possible, instead of having to search elsewhere for a product they may be looking for that you don't provide. So I think not only are you providing a benefit for your customer, but for you, you're creating more value in your own practice to that customer.
Selling additional products or marketing additional products for agents is paramount for multiple reasons. Obviously, number one, and probably at the forefront of everybody's mind, is additional compensation. We're in a commission-based business, and so it matters. If you're able to maximize the amount of commission dollars that are available in each house, obviously that's tremendously valuable. That's number one, and probably the thing that most people would think about. The other thing that I think is probably equally, if not more important, is by becoming skilled at marketing multiple products, you're able to help people in any and every way, and regardless of what happens in the economy, regardless of what happens with the government, regardless of what happens with rules and regulations, when you know how to sell, and meaning sell additional products, nothing that would happen in the world or the economy or in the government, with the government or anything else, can kind of kick you out of business. So I think that's probably just as important as the additional compensation that you can receive, is the additional skill that you have, and that you're kind of never out of work.
Question 3. Do you see clients with multiple products being more likely to be retained over time?
Great question. The answer is yes. I think that the more products you are able to offer, the more solutions via products that you're able to offer a customer, the longer that relationship is going to last. You're going to be viewed as a financial professional, not just in one area. Think about it like where you get your mortgage. You might only think of them as a mortgage person. But if you got your mortgage and your insurance and your disability and your health insurance from one person, that relationship is stronger, and I'll tend to come to you with more questions, which again will keep that relationship longer. So yes, I believe that the more products you offer a customer, the longer the retention of that customer will be.
My experience in meeting with families, I've met with a lot of them over a number of years, the more products I had in place in a home, the better my business was, my persistency was, because when I could add so much value that if they had any questions, they're more likely just going to call me and they were going to reach out to somebody else. Or if somebody were to call them and try to have a conversation with them, I had done so many things from a protection standpoint for them, they'd always make that phone call to me. And I always wanted to help a lot of families, write a lot of business, but preserve as much business as I could.
There's absolutely no question. The more products that you have in a house, the longer the client keeps all of those products. There is nothing more important than a client saying, Jim is my insurance agent, Mary is my insurance agent, Bob is my insurance agent, whoever you are, right? And they'll do that if you're servicing them for multiple products. When the word insurance comes to mind for them, if your name sort of pops in their head, there's nothing more valuable than that. If you are their Medicare agent or their life insurance agent, and they don't see you as being their insurance agent, you're not going to be at the forefront of their mind if and when the time comes for potential referrals for their friends, family, things like that. But if they see you as their insurance person, they're going to keep all the insurance that they have longer, and they're going to refer you more of their friends and family.
When you want to retain your clients and build your book of business of your clients, the more touches you have with them, the more likely they are to look to you for all of their different life and health coverages. So yes, the answer would be you definitely would have a better chance of maintaining your book. Look, if you're the person that's your go-to guy for Medicare and other coverages, when AEP comes and other agents start knocking on the door, they're not going to respond to any type of sales approach. It's your client, and they'll be with you for the long haul.
Next, let's talk about the what. What products can agents cross-sell? Question 4. What are some of the products that represent strong cross-sell opportunities for agents that focus on Medicare business? As you answer, can you also provide a brief overview of what each product is and share how each of these products brings unique value to your clients?
So when you're with a client and you're talking about Medicare or Medicare Advantage, those types of products, and you've provided a solution for them in that area, there are multiple other areas that are sort of on their mind. For example, dental, vision, and hearing products. So, when they were under 65, they had a dental plan at work. Now they don't have dental insurance. They don't have coverage for dental. Same thing for vision, same thing for hearing. It was potentially something that they had coverage for when they were younger, and now they have no coverage for, potentially. So a DVH plan is absolutely vital. A cancer policy is something that our folks are talking about all the time. There are so many expenses related to the out-of-pocket expenses that are incurred due to a person that is diagnosed with cancer that are not covered by insurance. So a cancer plan frequently will cover that. So cancer plans are absolutely imperative to talk to with your prospects. Hospital indemnity plans, for those prolonged hospital stays. Just the additional out-of-pocket expenses, things that are not covered by Medicare, can be excessive. So those types of products are tremendously valuable as well.
So for me, I see two amazing cross-selling opportunities in the Medicare space. I'll start with final expense, right? So I think that you look at the average person you're going to meet with in the Medicare side, and you think that he or she certainly could benefit from a final expense policy. Policy which is a whole life policy where we meet with them, we talk about their Medicare needs, those are met, we start having a conversation. They trust you, they've given you all their information, they're going to do business with you, and now to talk about what does happen in the event of a death, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what is that going to look like for you? And it's a whole life product that they pay one premium that stays the same for the rest of their lives, and their beneficiary gets this lump sum upon death. And I think most of the clients I think that you're going to meet with are going to be in that space. So I think that they're going to be looking for that product anyway. And we find the vast majority of them don't have any life insurance or not enough. I heard it put this way pretty well from a guy that was doing a lot of cross-selling. He said, I would ask people, when you look at, at the end of your life, most people are going to want to get a final expense policy for one of three reasons. One, they don't have any coverage for when something happens. Number two, they have some but not enough. Or number three, they look at it and say, I have some coverage to take care of me, my funeral, my cremation, my services, but I want to have some kind of legacy. I want to leave something to my kids, my grandkids, my nieces, my nephews. So I think that presents a phenomenal opportunity. I also look at mortgage protection, because there's a lot of people that are still paying mortgages, taking on new mortgages, and that mortgage protection can come in a variety of ways. I could meet with an individual, I can meet with a couple who's in their 70s who have a mortgage, and one or both of them on the mortgage, and somebody's meeting with them about their Medicare products, and they help them, and they're looking at their mortgage that's $2,000 a month, and they think, if something happens to one or both of you, how is this house going to be maintained until you're able to sell it, refinance it, your kids take over, your beneficiaries, whomever that is. So, and I mean, some of the folks too, there's so many different mortgage protection products. There is term, there are some term products that have return to premium dependent on age. And, but I think I see a lot of people utilize a whole life product to make sure that they protect that mortgage. I heard it described as critical care coverage, and I like that definition, where I say, all right, Tom, at your age, with how much you owe on the house and how many years left you have on the mortgage, we need to make sure if something happens to you, that Susan isn't going to have to panic and do something upon a death. If we know it's $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year, and we took out another $50,000, and she could pay the mortgage for 2 years, would that help her to not worry about touching the rest of the money y'all put away, or changing her finances to pay the mortgage? So I think it offers a unique opportunity in both those product spaces, and I think that the clients, after they've already entrusted you with their information, and to protect them on the Medicare side, would be probably more than willing to talk to you about either final expense or mortgage protection.
So for those agents that are focusing on Medicare, you're dealing with the health side of your customers' needs. But remember, what's tied into that, or what's tied into that emotion, is can I outlive my money, right? So one of the biggest fears consumers have, including the consumers you're talking to about health-related issues, is just money in general. And that one of the products that we offer that creates a great cross-sell opportunity is annuities. Right? What other financial vehicle offers a paycheck to the customer that they can't outlive? That also helps fund some of the ancillary products that you're offering on the health side. But even more important than possibly the paycheck is the legacy. Many of your customers want to leave something to their beneficiaries or their heirs. Life insurance provides that opportunity. So once again, with annuities and life insurance in your arsenal, you have the ability to solve customers' needs over and above just their health needs, which you're dealing with already.
When you talk to your client or begin to introduce new coverages, you want to ask the questions that get them thinking about what the problem is that the product would solve. And I want to talk about long-term care and short-term care, because that's the business that I'm primarily focused on. And when you have a Medicare client, you can ask a simple question like, have you done any preparation for long-term care? And then you can throw some things out like, it's a very high likelihood that you're going to need long-term care, or you or your spouse or somebody in your family will need it, before they die, and it's a very high likelihood. So asking that question is what leads into the discussion of that, and you can say, have you ever experienced it in your family? What happens when there was no preparation for long-term care? And you can see what problems that cause, and then you can get into what might be the solutions for that. Either short-term care or a long-term care product. Both will help do that job.
Next up is the when. When is very important. When can or should agents cross-sell? Question 5. With each product, are there better times of the year to present to clients?
Another great question. So time of year. We're a little bit less calendar dependent than the Medicare or Medicare supplement world because our products can be written at any time. They're not based on an enrollment period. They're all individually underwritten products. So when your time is busy in the Medicare world, when things loosen up or your schedule opens up and gives you more free time, that may be the opportunity to set an appointment with a customer and review maybe some of the other financial goals they have outside of health, because there aren't any calendar constraints to do that. So no, there aren't any time of the year constraints that are better or worse to offer annuities or life insurance or wealth management products.
So in my opinion, there's not really a better time of the year to sell a particular product. The sales process should always be that you're finding out on the front end. You do a fact finder or a CNA, confidential needs analysis, and you ask some questions before you get into your presentation. That's the way the sales process should work. And whether you're there to sell a Medicare supplement or whatever it is that you're there to sell, you should still ask some questions on the front end. And by asking those questions, that leads to the additional discussions on the other products. So I don't think there's a better time of the year to cross-sell. I think you should be cross-selling all the time. Obviously, there's some rules and regulations around Medicare Advantage and so forth of when you can sell certain products, but sort of at the same time as a Medicare Advantage sale and so forth. So you got to pay attention to some of those rules. But in terms of timing for the year, cross-selling should be done all the time.
When you're going about building your client base of Medicare, because we're all talking about Medicare as our base program. A lot of that centers around AEP. And when you're an AEP, you focus on maintaining the book of Medicare clients you have and trying to grow that book. So it's the rest of the year that lends itself to being able to introduce new coverages. Post AEP, you want to make sure that your client got the coverage in place, they're satisfied with the program they have, and you cemented the sale you might have made during AEP, or kept your existing client going with the same program or a new program during AEP, depending on how all that worked out. So that's a post AEP sort of touch, and you start asking these other questions. Another time might be when their birthday is coming. You might want to hit them up, a couple months or so before their birthday to make, to see how things are going with their Medicare and see if they, ask those questions to see if there might be an opportunity for, for another coverage in that family, or even if other family members might need some coverage. And then, of course, as you approach AEP, you want to make sure and review what their coverages are, what the options are for the coming AEP, and make sure that the program they have will work for them, or if not, set that appointment to change it out into something else when AEP arrives. So all the time spent between the end of one AEP and the beginning of the next is a big opportunity to make sure you keep your client and you introduce new coverages to them.
Well, I know and watching and being part of this amazing integrity family, I see October 15th to December 7th. I see that open enrollment period. I see how busy everybody is. And I see how open everybody is to getting these products taken care of. So, and I'm also was a big believer in the fourth quarter anyway. Outside of enrollment periods and all that, I just realized that over my years and being in the field and meeting with clients, I just think that when you looked at the end of the year, when you talked about the holidays, when you talked about people getting together, and especially with some of the stuff we've been through as a country in the recent past, I think that fourth quarter has been one that's always been very explosive for us because people, I think, are around family. I think they're thinking about family. I think they're thinking about the protection. So you couple the open enrollment period with what people are already thinking about come end of the year, holiday time. I think it's a great time to take your business to the next level, and it's also great to start the next year off with a lot of momentum.
Wow, that's great insight. Thanks so much. Question 6. We often think of cross-selling products as an add-on, but how can you generate more Medicare business by cross-selling these products?
As you build your Medicare base, you're going to not only try to maintain the one client you have, but perhaps a spouse in that same household. And it could be that you can work to get referrals for neighbors or friends or relatives or whatever, or even other family members that are either in that household or someone that they would want to show you or introduce you to. And when you do that, you continue to build your Medicare business and other coverages around your client base and they always look back to you as the go-to person for their coverages, and they will not entertain a call from another agent.
So some of the products that we offer, the entire wealth management package. So obviously here at Brokers International, we offer annuities. You also offer life insurance, but we also have a wealth of wealth management solutions, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, our own managed money platform called Retirement Ally. All of those products are available to you in some form or fashion, and also we have the ability to help get you licensed to offer the products you might not be licensed for today. So yes, all of those products, which I would consider to be asset accumulation products, asset decumulation like annuities, and then some form of life insurance to leave a legacy. So all of those products we have on our shelf and we can make available to you.
Yeah, and from a cross-selling standpoint, I think one of the things we have to do is I don't necessarily think it's an add-on, right? Like I look at the family and think they need something. And I'm there. They filled something out. They requested it. We contacted them. I'm out there. I'm talking to them. And all of a sudden, I find an opportunity to place additional products in the home. And I think for me, knowing that what that's going to do to my Medicare business or my life business, because every single client, you know, I had an individual say to me, the more products in place in the home, the more referrals I'm going to get. The more referrals I'm going to get, the less leads I'm going to need to go out in the field that following week. And then after a number of years in the field, 2 or 3, I think if you've done your job and you've done enough cross-selling and meeting with clients and meeting as many needs as you can, I think you already have such a support system in place, such a lead base that will continue to grow and grow and grow. So I think that's why it's so unbelievably important to see it in that aspect as opposed to it just being an add-on.
Well, you can generate more Medicare business with cross-selling in the fact that that your client sees you as the sort of the full solution to their Medicare needs and their health insurance needs. You'll get more referrals. You'll get spouses when they turn 65, if they're not already 65, that you know, again, they're going to think of you. But the most important thing is that prospects see you as sort of their full insurance solution for insurance needs, and that they see you as that, not just their Medicare person or their life insurance person. You want them to know that you can provide all the solutions to their insurance needs.
Question 7. Are there any compliance issues to be aware of when cross-selling products to your current clients?
There absolutely are some compliance things that you need to consider. With Medicare Advantage, for example, there are rules regarding whether or not you can talk about other products and so forth, and you really can't when you're talking about a Medicare Advantage sale. So I'm not going to you can't get into too much detail in a video like this, but definitely make sure that you're aware of the government regulations as far as what you can and can't do on a particular sale, particularly around Medicare Advantage. That's where most of the scrutiny is.
When it comes to bringing up the question about long-term care or short-term care, you have to remember that on the long-term care, traditional long-term care policy or any coverage where long-term care is part of the package, there's additional compliance requirements to sell the product. What we've done, we've been in the Golden Care, that is, in our sister company AIM. We've been in the long-term care business for 30 years or more. And of course, they're very strict on what the coverages are and what the certifications and licensing requirements are to sell those coverages. And a lot of times, agents find that the product is complicated, it's tough to sell, and there's additional requirements for that.
Yeah, it's a great question. So obviously compliance, we always need to make sure that we're doing things in a compliant fashion. And many of you know that when you're sitting down with a customer and you're talking about Medicare, that situation or sales situation must be separate from offering any other types of products at that same appointment. So again, my recommendation is to let your customers and prospects know all of the things you do. Make sure they understand that you offer a line of products outside what you're visiting with them today. Also, I'd challenge you that a customer that will meet with you on multiple occasions actually becomes a better customer. So let them know at the get-go the type of planning that you do and the type of product offerings that you have, and set specific appointments to discuss those specific needs instead of trying to do it all in one sit-down. Again, I think you'll find that customer will become more endeared with you the more visits you have, and it gives you the more opportunity to share what you do and what you've done for others.
By now, you should know how important cross-selling is and can be to your clients and to your business. So let's talk about the how. How can agents get started cross-selling? Question 8. If you're an agent not currently selling additional products, which products make the most sense to start with?
I mean, if I'm in the Medicare space and I'm out meeting with families and I'm not selling any additional products, and I said, hey, you know what, where should I start? Where would you start? Final expense. I mean, for me, it'd be final expense. That's the world I live in, right? I understand final expense and mortgage, but I think there's so many folks that we come in contact with that have already met with somebody that took care of their Medicare needs, and then we come in and they already sat with them. They already helped them. Listen, I want everybody to win. So I just want everybody to help everybody, and I don't want anybody to be missed out. So I think that if it was me, I think it's a very simple product to understand. Whole life premium never changes. Death benefit paid upon a death. It goes, I mean, it's not complicated. Beneficiary gets this product. Here's the questions that are asked. It's a pretty simplified process where it's just, you don't have to go through any kind of physical exam, medical exam, any of that. So I would probably start there. I think that makes by far the most sense. Hey, we've taken care of this now, but Tom and Susan, let me ask you something. Have you thought about this when we start talking about the end of our lives? And listen, nobody wants to think about it. We don't want to think about this Medicare either, but we need to have it in place. We have to, just like the final expense product, your whole life product, you're going to need some kind of death benefit in place, either to take care of yourself, funeral, cremation, your services, to help pay some additional bills, or to leave some money to some other people. So I would definitely start with the final expense if I was in that space, looking for additional products to put in place.
If you've never really cross-sold many products in the past, and you really think this is something that you want to do, I think that definitely the right thing to do is to pick one product. I think probably the best product to pick would be a dental vision hearing product, because it is such a simple thing. It's something that people think about. And again, in many cases, when people were under 65, they had coverage for that, and now they don't. Not all the time, of course, but that happens a lot. So a DVH type product is a great product to start with. And again, I mentioned earlier, the cancer product is something that everybody knows that cancer is a devastating disease, and to have coverage where that'll take care of so much of the out-of-pocket expenses that can be incurred is another great product to start with. And it's something that people are, you don't have to, kind of explain it. Everybody knows the need. Everybody knows the fact that it happens. Of course, Medicare and Medicare Advantage plans cover the main expenses when it comes to cancer, but there are so many extra costs. So it's an easy add-on, an easy additional conversation to have. So I would start with one of those two products. That's what I would do.
Well, probably the most important product to start with is probably either long-term care or short-term care, because a Medicare eligible client that you have, the coverages they have for Medicare do not provide any coverage for short-term care or long-term care. So you have to bring that up and mention it, and it's always best to keep that simple. Don't try to differentiate between what short-term care is or what long-term care is. Get to understand your client, make sure you understand their budget and what their health issues are, and then you'll be able to select the appropriate product that would fit them and fit their needs without having to find yourself in a situation where they want a certain product and are not eligible to get it for health reasons or whatever.
I think the product that makes the most sense if you're not already offering life insurance, annuities, or wealth management products would be annuities. And here's the reason why. When you're sitting down with a prospect or a customer for the products you're offering currently, you're finding the money to pay for them. So for example, if I don't own a Medicare supplement policy and I'd like to buy one, I now have to find the money to purchase it. With annuities, number one, they're relatively easy to understand. They're the only product in the industry, the only financial services product that offers a guaranteed stream of income your customers can't outlive. Regardless of interest rates or the stock market fluctuating up and down, it's a paycheck they can't outlive, which helps them fund all the other things you're offering. So I would start with annuities for that reason. And the second reason is because it's usually moving money from the left pocket to the right. With an annuity, most people have money sitting somewhere. You're just not happy with the return, or it doesn't provide any type of guarantee. And so you're going to move that money from one place to the next to fund that annuity. So again, I would start with annuities because one, I think they're very easy to understand and they're relatively easy to pick up and become knowledgeable on. Number two, they supply a solution that no other financial vehicle does. And number three, it could possibly fund future products for you or help fund the product that you're currently sitting down with the customer with. So I would start with annuities, and as you get more comfortable with that, maybe offer life insurance, and then you can expand your practice into wealth management if you so desire. But I would start with annuities.
Question 9. What is the best way to present your very first cross-sell product? How do you work it into your presentation?
Okay, remember now, we all have the Medicare client as our base, so we're introducing new products. I can go back and tell a story about when I was an agent a long time ago. I used to sell these medical policies, major medical policies, and when I went to see a prospective client, I would always, at the point of closing, ask them if they would want the additional life option. I never really asked much more than that. The answer to that is either yes or no, or they'll ask me, well, how much is that? But I prepared ahead of time. I knew what the rate would be based on their age and whether they were a smoker or not. So I kind of prepped ahead of time before I asked that leading question. So it'd be the same thing with the Medicare. If you want to bring up to your Medicare client, a long-term care coverage and ask that question, it would be, do you want to, a simple question like, do you want to, look at long-term care coverages after you actually have them in place as a client for Medicare? And the answer is either yes or no, or they'll ask you additional questions that lead you to the point of actually talking about that particular coverage, and you'll see where that goes. You might have another sale on your hand that you didn't even expect just by asking the leading question.
I think the easiest way to work a cross-sell product into your presentation is to again make sure that you're following the sales process. When you get to the house and you've done your warm up and all that sort of thing, you sort of get down to business. You need to ask some questions on the front end. Don't just dive into your presentation on whatever it is you're there to talk to them about. Ask them some questions, and about their current coverage, about their current needs, about their current experiences, their current health, all that sort of thing. And then when it comes to your presentation, to sort of add on the solution that fixes the problem, or maybe something that you talked about in the fact finder in your needs analysis. It's just a natural segue into that additional product. It's a little bit harder when you sort of haven't mentioned cancer at all or life insurance at all, and all of a sudden you say, oh, now that we've taken care of your Medicare, tell me about your life insurance, okay, or something like that. That's harder. But if you've done it on the front end, if you sort of ask some questions on the front end, it's easier to say, as we discussed earlier, X, you had this or you had that. So you have to connect the dots. I think that's the most important thing in cross-selling is you have to connect the dots. I think you connect the dots by doing a comprehensive needs analysis on the front end. You do your presentation, and your presentation includes solutions, not only maybe your main product, but maybe some additional products as well.
Great question. How do you work other products into your presentation? And I believe it starts from the get-go. In my experience in the industry over 30 years, I believe that your customers know what you do by the last thing you offered them. So I'll give you an example. I would submit to you that most of your customers might not know that you offer annuities if you have sold them a Medicare supplement policy. They think you're the Medicare supplement person. So the best way to start is to make sure your customers understand exactly what you do and what you offer. If you're a holistic planner, share with them all of the things you do. The snapshot of what you'll ask them, the amount of information you need from them, so that you can help plan for their future. So if you start from the initial presentation and let your customers know everything you offer, you've already set the expectation. So again, think about it like walking into a store. You can walk into a pants store and you might think that's all they offer. But if you walked into a store that had shirts and ties and belts and everything else, then you already know as you walk in, wow, I can get all of these things here. Think about that prospect who sits down with you and introduce the store to them. That's already going to set the stage for the second and third and fourth appointment and the second and third and fourth product that you're going to recommend to them. So start at the beginning. Let them know how you plan, all of the things that you can do in your practice, and then set up appointment number 2 and number 3. When you get into your initial presentation of all of the things you do, you might want to position the products that you're comfortable with and where you use them in other client scenarios. Once you've had that conversation, then you can lead to appointment number 2 and number 3, which will give you time to take a look at their information, provide a solution, educate yourself on that solution, and then present just that solution at a second or third visit. That's how I would start. Hopefully that helps.
I think when you are cross-selling, I think once you've met, I think a lot of people, the mistake they make is try to do too many things at one time. I don't. So even if I was helping you with a Medicare product and you asked me about life insurance, right? You asked me about something for your final expenses. I take care of what I'm focused on at the time, and then I move. So, for instance, if I'm sitting with Tom, once I'm done, I've taken care of it, Medicare product's done, he understands everything, I've explained it, we're good, he knows where we're going to go from here, we're done, products in place. I now pivot and say, listen, I obviously have other products to offer. One that a lot of my clients seem to take an interest in is a final expense product. So we've taken care of this over here. That's done. That's got neither here nor there. You're going to have that regardless. But would you be interested in looking at what you could get to take care of your family upon a death? And again, I think for me on the final expense side, it was always those three. I mean, listen, Tom, everybody's interested in this for one of three reasons. And I always went back to that, don't have any, don't have enough, or want to leave something to people. It's funny, you'll start talking to somebody and they're like, I have plenty of life insurance. But then they have 5 grandkids and maybe their kids aren't in the greatest financial position. And it's like, would it be awesome to leave each one of your grandkids $10,000? And all of a sudden they start thinking differently about life insurance and what it actually means and who it's actually going to. And, you've lived your life with a lot of dignity. On the way out, I always tell people I'd like to live with a lot of dignity and I'd like to go out with a lot of dignity. And I think it gets people thinking about what they can actually utilize these life insurance products for. So that's how I'd present the products if it was me and I was sitting with somebody. But confused people don't do anything, so I wouldn't confuse people. If I went there to meet a need, I would meet that need. Once that need's met, and I'm good, now it's like, I don't think people would say to me sometimes, well, if I cross-sell, what if they don't want the other product? Okay, that's why it's completely bifurcated. I took care of this. This is done. Whatever we do with this, if you do something or not, doesn't affect what we put in place. This is set, you're good, you understand your benefits, you understand what the cost is, you understand everything that's going on with this. Do you have any questions about this? No, I don't. I'm completely good, Sean. Thank you. Okay, boom. Now we move over here. If you think that trying to show somebody another opportunity to protect their family is going to jeopardize a sale, you didn't make a sale. If you think that's going to jeopardize the sale, why would it? You're not trying to force anything on anybody. You're having a discussion about additional need that you can fill. And they might not even know that you're able to fill it.
Thank you all. Your expertise will be so helpful to our agents and to the Americans they serve every single day. We're grateful for the insights that will support us on the way to a winning AEP season.